Hello, I'm Robert Zubrin. I'm president of the Mars Society. Now, the Mars Society is an international organization committed to furthering the exploration and settlement of Mars. We've got about 7,000 members all over the world, chapters in 40 countries, including all the Western countries, as well as Russia and China, Ukraine, and many others. We do three things. One is broad public outreach to spread the vision of humans expanding into space, creating a spacefaring civilization. Second is political work to try to convince members of the political class to support both robotic and human missions that will take us further towards the goal. And the third is projects of our own, of which the most important have been the establishment of simulated Mars exploration stations. We have one in the Canadian Arctic, we have one in the American desert, and some of our international chapters have established them elsewhere in Poland. Some people working with us set up one in Hawaii, in China, and so forth. And at these stations, people can practice field exploration, doing it the same way it would have to be done on Mars, and find out what will work on Mars and what won't. Okay. And so we're holding this benefit concert, Mars Rocks. We have all kinds of people in the Mars Society, not just scientists. We got rock musicians, we got poets, we got artists, we got writers, got all kinds of people, as well as, yes, scientists, engineers, students, and just plain folks. Raise money because these activities cost money. But, you know, what's really important is the overall goal, and that is humans to Mars. And why is that so important? Okay, one, and you hear this from NASA, and this is true, is for the science. Mars was once a warm and wet planet like the Earth. If the theory is true that life evolves wherever it has an acceptable environment, it should have appeared on Mars. And if we can find life or even fossils of past life on Mars, we'll prove that life is a general phenomenon in the universe. It means we're not alone. Second is the challenge. I think civilizations are like individuals. We grow and we challenge ourselves, and we stagnate when we don't. And a Humans to Mars program would be a tremendous positive challenge to us and every other country that takes up this challenge alongside of us. It would tell to all the young people, learn your science and you could be a pioneer of new worlds. You know, youth loves adventure. A Humans to Mars program would make science the great adventure, and we'd get millions of young scientists. You know, we got them out of the Apollo program. We tripled the number of science and engineering graduates in this country in the 60s. We've benefited from that ever since. And now we would get much more because science and engineering now are open to women and minorities, for example, in ways that simply were not the case in the 1960s. And more scientists, engineers, inventors, technological entrepreneurs, doctors, medical researchers. These are the kinds of people that drive society forward, and the benefit of producing them by making science the great adventure will benefit people all over the world for decades and centuries to come. But then there's the goal itself. I mean, you know, humans in a fundamental way are not native to the Earth. We're native to Kenya. We're actually tropical animals. That's why we have these long, thin arms with no fur on them. We colonized the rest of the world by developing the technology, by including clothing and houses and fire and the ability to work together to hunt large animals so you get food in the wintertime, which meant the development of language, and so on. And, you know, and we didn't leave the Garden of Eden because we ate the tree of knowledge. We ate the tree of knowledge because we left the Garden of Eden, our natural habitat in the Kenyan Rift Valley. But as a result of doing that, we changed ourselves from a local species to a global species. Okay, instead of just being in one place with a few tribes, 200 nations all over the world with dozens of languages and literatures and intellectual and philosophical and literary traditions, manifold contributions to technology and invention from different cultures, you know, and we've created a much richer human story than would have been possible had we stayed where we were started. Well, if we go to Mars, if we do what we can do at this time, which is establish that first human foothold on another world, then 500 years from now, there will be new branches of human civilization, many of them on Mars, because Mars is big enough for more than one colony, more than one nation. Mars is big enough for more than one flag. But on hundreds of asteroids, and I believe on hundreds of planet-circling stars in this region of the galaxy. And, so we're talking about thousands of new nations, thousands of new cultures, new languages, new literatures, new inventions, new heroes, new tales of great deeds that will inspire people to go out further. And that is something grand and wonderful that we can create. And when you have it in your power to create something grand and wonderful, then you should. So I invite you to come to the Mars Society Convention. I invite you to come to the concert. It's going to be a lot of fun. I invite you to join our future. Let's do something grand and wonderful together.